Tuesday evening, 7:47 p.m. David Mitchell, 45 years old, partner at a prestigious Manhattan law firm, opens his iPhone in their living room. New message from Amanda Peterson. Darling, can we meet tonight? Is your wife Sarah getting suspicious? Does that old woman know anything about us? David laughs as he responds. Amanda, sweetheart, my wife? Sarah is just a 62-year-old retired old woman. She spends all day knitting and drinking tea. She has no idea about anything, and she can't interfere with anything. She's just an old war pilot stuck in the past. Just as he's about to send the message, Sarah Mitchell is stirring her Earl Grey tea in the kitchen, smiling. Because the military-grade GPS tracking device and audio surveillance system she installed on David's phone 3 weeks ago is recording every word. Sarah had experienced this same calmness 30 years ago, in 1991, during Operation Desert Storm, before shooting down enemy MiG-29s with her F-16 Fighting Falcon. Back then, enemy pilots had also underestimated her. Now they all lay beneath the Iraqi desert. Sarah sips her tea and murmurs to herself, "Poor David. You never learn the first rule of aerial warfare. Never underestimate your enemy's intelligence capabilities." Because Sarah's revenge plan, codenamed Operation Heartbreak, had already begun. David's bank accounts, business partnerships, the private club where he meets Amanda, even Amanda's mother Jennifer's house in Connecticut, were all on Sarah's radar. And in 72 hours, everything in David and Amanda's lives would change. But by the time they realized it, Sarah Mitchell would have already won the game. Welcome to Human Stories. Before we dive into this incredible tale of secret love, betrayal, and a deadly game of America's favorite pastime, let us know in the comments if there are other stories like this one and where you're watching tonight. And if you believe stories about unsung heroes deserve to be heard, hit the subscribe button. Because tonight's story will show you that sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one who quietly keeps everything clean.
Sarah Mitchell's story was based on an extraordinary past that most people couldn't imagine. Born in 1961 in Colorado Springs, she grew up in a small house right next to the Air Force Base. Her father, Colonel Michael Carter, was a Vietnam War veteran, and her mother, Linda, was a strong woman who had served as a nurse in the Army. Sarah's life was determined when she was 8 years old. That day, when her father first took her on a plane, the moment she took the controls of the small Cessna, everyone realized she was a born pilot. "My daughter," her father had said that day, "you were born for the skeet day." When she graduated from the Air Force Academy in 1983, Sarah was one of only 12 women in her class. It hadn't been easy to prove herself among male pilots. Physical strength, mental endurance, ability to withstand 9G forces. She had to be perfect in every area. During F-16 Fighting Falcon training, she earned the call sign, Steel Angel. Despite being cold and calculating as steel, she performed her missions with angelic precision. When she received her first combat-ready pilot certification in 1987, she was only 26 years old. Operation Desert Storm was the moment. Sarah became legendary. In January 1991, she was one of the first female combat pilots to enter Iraqi airspace. That famous night, January 17, 1991, she single-handedly shot down 3 enemy MiGs over Baghdad with her F-16 after its electronic systems failed. Manual control, visual judgment, pure pilot skill. After that night, the Steel Angel legend was born. During her 30-year military career, Sarah flew 247 combat missions and never lost a single battle. Pentagon strategy development, test piloting, training young pilots. She excelled in every field. When she retired in 2013 at age 52 with the rank of general, she left behind an irreplicable legacy. Meeting David Mitchell was by chance. In 2014, They met at a veterans charity event. David was 37 at the time, a rising star lawyer. He was impressed by Sarah's military background and admired her strong character. "You're incredible, Sarah," he had said during their first date. "Meeting such a strong, independent woman was my dream." Sarah had believed in David's sincerity. His praise regarding her military service and strong personality seemed genuine. David took pride in telling his friends about Sarah's achievements and introduced her at social events as "my war hero wife." They married in 2015. Their Manhattan penthouse was purchased with the success of David's law firm. Sarah, with the peace that retirement brought, thought she could finally live a normal married life. The first 5 years were truly happy. David was a caring, supportive husband who respected Sarah's past. Sarah was also trying to adapt to civilian life and integrate into David's social circle. But everything began to change in 2020. A new secretary, Amanda Peterson, had joined David's office. 25 years old, Stanford graduate, intelligent and attractive young woman. The moment Sarah first saw her, she noticed how Amanda looked at David. Her 30 years of intelligence training hadn't been wasted. But David was changing too. He was going through a midlife crisis. He felt he was losing his youth, that his life was becoming routine. And Sarah was now in her 60s. Gray hair, aging lines, hands that no longer flew planes. Amanda was meeting David's ego needs. She admired him, energizing his life with her youthful spirit. David felt strong, attractive, and desired again when he was with Amanda. Their relationship had started with innocent flirtations. Overtime hours, business dinners, just friendship excuses. But Sarah saw everything. David's late arrivals home, his secretive exits during phone conversations, his attempts to hide cell phone messages. In September 2024, she had obtained definitive proof. WhatsApp messages on David's phone, the luxury hotel on Fifth Avenue, where he met Amanda during lunch breaks, even the Cartier bracelet David had bought for Amanda. What hurt most were the things David said about Sarah to Amanda. "Sarah isn't the old Sarah anymore. She's aged, tired. She always talks about how strong she used to be. But now she's just an old woman, sitting at home. Being with you makes me feel young again, Amanda. There's nothing left between Sarah and me. She has no idea about anything now. She spends all day drinking tea and watching TV. She'll never suspect our relationship." When Sarah read these messages, her first feeling wasn't pain but anger. But this was military anger. Cold, calculated, strategy-focused. That night, Sarah began designing the Operation Heartbreak plan. Phase 1. Intelligence gathering. Sarah analyzed David's daily routines, meeting places with Amanda, work schedules, and financial situations in detail. She installed hidden cameras in David's office, listening devices on his phone, and GPS tracking systems in his install. Using her old CIA connections, she researched Amanda's past, family, and social circle. Phase 2. Target identification. Sarah targeted not just David and Amanda, but their surroundings too. Amanda's mother, Jennifer Peterson, was a conservative woman living in Connecticut. Amanda had never mentioned David to her mother to maintain her innocent young girl image. David's business partners, Robert Kane and Michael Stevens, believed he was an honest and reliable lawyer. David's personal expenses from office accounts and gifts for Amanda would be considered ethical violations. Phase 3. Psychological warfare. Sarah knew every weakness of David's, his ego problems, need for control, social status anxiety. It was clear that Amanda was young and inexperienced, unable to calculate the consequences of such relationships. November 27, 2024, Wednesday. Sarah put her plan into action. First move. An anonymous letter to Amanda's mother. It contained photos of David and Amanda at the private hotel, documents showing David was married, and evidence that Amanda was betraying a family friend. Jennifer Peterson, as a woman with conservative values, was shocked to learn her daughter was having an affair with a married man. The same day, she called Amanda and forced her to come to Connecticut. Second move. Anonymous tip to David's business partners. She sent financial documents showing David was using office accounts for personal expenses and buying gifts for Amanda with company money. Robert Kane and Michael Stevens called an emergency partners meeting when they learned their partner was committing ethical violations. Third move. She sent evidence to Amanda's university friends showing David was married and that Amanda had fallen into the boss secretary cliché. Amanda became the subject of gossip in her social circle. Fourth and most effective move. She sent a detailed file to David's mother, Dorothy Mitchell, showing her son was cheating on Sarah. Dorothy loved Sarah and thought her son was lucky to be married to such a perfect woman. Thursday morning, David's phone started ringing frantically. First call from his mother. David, how could you cheat on Sarah? That woman fought for our country. Second call from his partners. David, come to the office. We have serious matters to discuss. Third call from Amanda. David, my mother found out. I have to go to Connecticut. We have to end this relationship. David was in panic. He couldn't understand how it had been exposed. Who had reported it? How had they obtained such detailed information? Sarah was drinking her tea in the kitchen, listening to David's phone conversations. Every panic-filled word was proof of how perfectly her plan was working. Friday. When David came home, Sarah was sitting in the living room, looking at his office photo. In the photo, David, Sarah, and his business partners were smiling together. Beautiful photo, isn't it, David? Sarah said calmly. David's face went pale. Sarah, you what, David? Do you have something to tell me? David's hands were trembling. He understood everything was exposed, but he couldn't guess how much Sarah knew. Sarah, there are some problems at work. Sarah smiled, the same cold smile she had shown enemy pilots 30 years ago. David, look. I was a combat pilot for 30 years. I always watched my enemies from afar, analyzed their every move, discovered their weaknesses, then brought them down with a single strike. David's face tensed further. You chose to become my enemy, David, with Amanda, and I've already brought you down. Sarah stood up and went to David's side. Your business partners fired you. Amanda's family asked her to break off the relationship. Your social circle is talking about you. Your mother isn't speaking to you. David collapsed. Sarah, how? David, have you ever wondered how an F-16's radar system works? It detects enemy aircraft from 200 kilometers away, tracks them, targets them, shoots them down. You thought you'd been watching me for 3 months. I'd been watching you for 60 months. Sarah stood in front of David. Now you have 2 choices. Either end our marriage and lose everything, or learn to respect me and try to fix your life. David started creasing. Sarah, I'm sorry. I acted like a fool. Yes, you did. And now you'll face the consequences. Sarah looked at David one last time. David, I loved you for 10 years, but you forgot who I am. I'm Sarah Mitchell, Steel Angel, and I never lose. 6 months later, David and Sarah divorced. David had lost his business partnership, his social status had collapsed, and his relationship with his family was ruined. Amanda was living with her mother in Connecticut, having cut all ties with David. Sarah moved to a small house in New Hampshire, a peaceful place with a garden. Pilot friends visited her, telling airplane stories like in the old days. One day her old squadron mate Tom visited her new home. Sarah, I heard what you did to David. It was a magnificent operation. Sarah smiled. Tom, I just took back my self-respect. David thought I was a finished old woman. I showed him that steel angel never dies. Don't you have any regrets? Sarah looked out the window. Flowers had bloomed in her garden. Tom, I defended my country for 30 years. Now I defended myself. I have no regrets. Sarah Mitchell had taught David Mitchell the most important lesson of his life. Never underestimate a warrior, because true warriors never give up. And sometimes the greatest victory is remembering your own worth. The story of Sarah Steel Angel Mitchell proves that respect must be earned and maintained. In a world where age is often seen as weakness, she demonstrated that experience, wisdom, and the warrior spirit never truly retire. David had made the fatal mistake of confusing Sarah's peaceful retirement with defeat. He learned too late that a steel angel's wings may be folded, but they are never broken. In the end, Operation Heartbreak wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming dignity, demanding respect, and proving that some battles are worth fighting, no matter your age. The sky never forgets its daughters, and sometimes, when pushed too far, they remember how to soar.